Welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of Shitamachi Underground Japanese. Today I am, as usual, accompanied by Jay Sensei.
皆さんこん
Jay
ばん
Sensei,
は。
元気?
はい、元気です。今日はぼちぼちだよ。
Bochi bochi wa doyu imi? And I just asked, what does bochi bochi mean?
ぼちぼちは、相変わらずいつもと同じっていうような感じですね。It's like saying same as always, kind of just normal. So, today's been a pretty good normal day for me. I've had a good time.
Wakaru, which means I understand.
わかりましたか？皆さんわかりましたか？ Did you all understand? Well,
I hope so. Funny story. This is actually our second time recording this particular episode. The first one was great. However, there was a lot of missing audio for some reason.
it was my microphone. It was having some problems.
Yeah, but we're more than happy to do it again, and we're doing it so we are able to release this podcast in a consistent format. So, Jay Sensei, what do we get to learn today?
Well, today's lesson is, like you said, episode 3 of our beginner series, going over the fundamentals of Japanese. And we are specifically going to go over some more food and drink vocabulary and hit on some of the things that we didn't have enough time to talk about last lesson. We're going to learn how to specifically refer to things that are nearby us using the word kono, this, and refer to things close to our listener with the word sono, that, things that are far away from both of us with ano, and then we're going to see a question word, which, today. And then we're going to learn some more sentence-ending particles, and we have not just one, but two naughty words of the day today.
How do I say I'm excited, Jay Sensei?
楽しみです。
Tanoshimi. But if I were to say it casually, would it be tanoshimu?
Tanoshimu is the verb, kind of like in the dictionary form. So if you wanted to say it casually, you could just be like, tanoshimi.
Tanoshimi.
Yeah, いいね. That's awesome. So let's go ahead and look at our conversation for today. Today's conversation happens between Hiroki and his roommate Kenta, and they are just about to eat breakfast. And just a reminder, if you are one of those people who are wanting to be able to follow along and actually read something, see something while you're listening, we recommend checking out the video version of our podcast.
Hell yeah. And also, one more note before we start, we have 2 prior episodes. So if you are a beginner, it is highly recommended that you start at episode 1. And remember, learn at your own pace. If you feel as though that you need to rewind, go ahead, hit that 5 seconds back button or 15 seconds back, whatever it is on the app you are using.
Yeah, pausing and then going back numerous times helps to get repetition. And when learning a language, repetition is so important. And with that, let's go ahead and give everyone their first time hearing this conversation. So I am going to play the role of Kenta, and we will have Tarik-san read Hiroki's lines. Take it away.
All right. 今日の朝ごはんは何?
今日はシリアルかな。Hirokiは?
僕もシリアル。その牛乳を取ってくれる?
いいよ。Hiroki、そのコーヒーを取って。
これ?
いや、それは紅茶。それだよ。あ、はい、ありがとうね。All right, let's go ahead and now break that down a little bit slower, so everyone can hear every syllable that we are pronouncing. Take it away.
今日の朝ごはんは何?
今日はシリアルかな。Hirokiは?
僕もシリアル。その牛乳を取ってくれる?
いいよ。 Hiroki, そのコーヒーを取って。
これ。
いや、それは紅茶。それだよ。はい、ありがとうね。Alright, so this conversation in English is,
What are you having for breakfast today?
I'm thinking cereal. How's about you, Hiroki?
I'm also gonna go with cereal. Can you pass the milk?
Sure thing. Hiroki, wanna grab me that coffee?
This one.
Nah, that's black tea. That one. Yeah. Thanks.
There we go.
Nice.
So, Jay Sensei, I noticed this right here off the bat. One of the pronouns for Hiroki, he uses boku. Boku wa doyu imi?
That's a great question. If you are watching this podcast with us, you'll notice on the third line here we have the word boku, and in the English translation it says I, well, technically I am. And in other words, boku is the first person singular pronoun for oneself, so it can mean I. It also can mean me, and unlike watashi, which we've seen in previous lessons, boku is typically preferred to be used by males, and it often has a kind of humble, young sort of impression. You'll notice that Japanese actually contains multiple ways of saying I, the first person pronoun, that are related to gender, and there's also a plural aspect to it too, but we'll kind of save the more grammatical stuff for another time.
Sounds good to me.
Alrighty. So, in this conversation, we had a bunch of words for food and drink. Let's go ahead and check out some of the vocabulary from there, as well as some other words which we're going to use in our other activities today.
First off, we have milk, which is pronounced gyunyu.
Gyunyu. Gyunyu. Gyunyu.
Awesome. Second off, we have jusu,
Yeah.
which is juice.
Juice. Juice.
Third off, we have the word for a soda or a carbonated drink, and that is tansam.
Tansan.
Next up, we have kohi.
Coffee.
Next up, we have the word for black tea, and that is kolcha.
Kocha.
Next up, we have the word for rice or meal, and that is goham. I'm sure a lot of you Dragon Ball Z fans will remember this word.
This word is really cool because I feel like it's so uniquely Japanese to have, rice be almost synonymous with the word for a meal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And the word for rice and meal is gohan. Gohan.
And then next we have breakfast. Asagohan.
Asagohan. Asagohan.
Next up, we have lunch, which is hirugohan.
Hirugohan. Hirugohan.
Coming up next, we have the word for dinner or supper, depending on what part of the world you're in. I don't know if anybody still has supper, but it is referred to in Japanese as bangohan.
Tarik-san, sappa no jikan da yo. Just kidding. Bangohan. Ooh, and did you guys all notice that asagohan, breakfast, hirugohan, lunch, and bangohan, dinner, all have gohan inside of them?
It would appear so.
That's because asa means morning, hiru means lunch, and ban means like evening. And so when you say asa gohan, you literally are saying morning rice or like morning meal. So
Oh.
hopefully that gets two birds with one stone, which is
I feel like I want to name my child Asa Gohan. morning rice. Morning rice. Take off my shoes.
and maybe your partner can be ban gohan. Just kidding. But yeah, it's cool. Like how you have patterns like this. You get two birds with one stone, or as the Japanese people like to say, iseki nicho.
Oh, that's new for me. I like that. Iseki Nicho?
Yep, iseki means one rock, and nicho means two birds. So iseki nicho.
Naruhodo. And last but not least, it's our favorite breakfast food. Honestly,
Shiriaru. Sorry.
yeah, it's cereal. And as Jay Sensei just excitedly exclaimed, Shiriaru. Want to break that down for me?
Hai. Shiriaru. Shiriaru.
So da ne.
So this isn't really our main naughty word of the day, but someone pointed out to me one time that shiriaru is kind of almost like saying someone has a butt, because shiri kind of is like oshiri, which means butt, and aru means to have.
Oh.
I think it was someone trying to make like a lame pun, but I kind of still laughed at it. My bad.
Yeah, that's the Japanese variant of dad ass.
Oh man, oyaji gyagu are such a thing in Japan. Yeah, oyaji gyagu is a like dad joke.
Ah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they had a word for dad jokes in Japanese. I mean, it only makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah.
What does that literally translate to?
Oyaji is kind of like saying my old man, or like someone's old man, like their dad, in other words. And then the word gyagu comes from the English word like gag, like the joke, not like when you're trying to wring someone's neck. Like
say that word for me one more time, real quick, but nice and slow.
oyaji gyagu. Oyaji gyagu.
Oyaji gagu.
で、私のお父さんは親父ギャグが大好きです。My dad loves oyaji gyagu.
So it's gyagu, not gagu.
Yeah, it's gyagu, like with a G-Y-A.
Like a gag, almost.
Gyagu.
Gyagu.
Yeah, so that's our new words of the day. And we got to see in the conversation, shiriaru was used there on the second line when Kenta was saying, I think I'm going to eat cereal. He said, go ahead and read this out loud for us, Tark. 今日はシリアルかな?
今日はシリアルかな? Hiroki wa?
All right. Now, at the end of that sentence where we have kana, that's where we have today's main grammar point, which is sentence ending particles. Part 2.
Oh. So it would seem as though the particle yo is added to the end of a sentence when the speaker is sharing new information with the listener.
Yeah. So last time we kind of talked about how ka is put at the end of a sentence when you're asking a question. It's like a verbal question mark. In a way, yo is kind of like a verbal exclamation mark. But when it's yo, it's used to emphasize the fact that I think I'm telling you something you don't know. So
yeah, I think about it like hip hop, right? That shit was tight, yo. You know?
You know, I'm just like definitely a gangster, and I'm very like familiar with the whole hip hop culture, let me tell you. No, I'm just kidding. Like, but sometimes it seems that way, right? Like,
yeah. That's how I remember it. That, and you know how I remember the mechanic in my head, and that's how I'm able to basically, I feel like, convey it kind of naturally. I associate basically the same sort of energy.
Yeah, like, and yo, I would also say too, if you use it with a kind tone of voice, it's okay. But if you like are kind of speaking flatly, it can sound a little bit condescending because you are basically telling someone some information, and it's implied that you think they don't know what you're already talking about. So in this example that says that is a soda, we're imagining there's a person who has a drink in front of them and they have no idea what it is. Maybe they even ask like, "What is this?" And so
Maybe they're diabetic and they can't have any sugar.
yeah, so like that's why we gotta let them know that that is a soda and it's not
That's not
diet.
sparkling water. That's a 7-Up.
Which in Japanese, that is a soda would be
それは炭酸だよ.
good. それは炭酸だよ. That is a soda. And we saw this in today's conversation on line 4 when Kenta says, iyo. I means good. And yo is informing that it is good or it is fine. We had translated as sure thing. But, the question that Kenta was answering here is, will you pass me the milk? And so Kenta says, literally, yeah, it's good. I can do that. Iyo. Word for word,
Iyo.
Japanese people do say it is good. But that is just what a Japanese person is more likely to say instead of something like, sure thing. You'll notice that in a lot of situations when learning Japanese that the literal equivalent of what you're trying to say isn't used by Japanese people. And sometimes what you're wanting to say literally is going to be something very different in Japanese, but that's just the more common, more natural thing to say. Let's check out our next sentence ending particle.
So it looks like it is ne.
Yeah. Where does
And
ne... in what kind of situation would we use ne?
It looks like it is added to the end of a sentence to place emphasis on the emotion of the sentence.
That's right. So if I said something is delicious, I would just say oishii. But if I really wanted to show that I'm really excited about how delicious it is, maybe I ate it and I really enjoyed the food, I could add ne to oishii and it makes it sound like I'm really enthusiastic about it.
Oishii ne.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Tarik, how would I say this in English? Karai ne.
Oh, it's kind of spicy, isn't it?
Good. Yeah. How's about 今日は暑い。暑いね。
It's kind of hot in it.
Yeah, it's hot. Oh, you bring up another good point. Ne is also used to confirm information with the listener. So it's not only going to emphasize the emotion of a sentence, but it also can be like a tag question to say things like, isn't it, aren't it, or as Tarik likes to say,
In it?
So
That's for all your red coats out there.
exactly. So if I wanted to say something like, wow, that Mayumi person, she is a babe, isn't she? I could say it like this. Mayumi wa bijin da ne.
So.
そうだね。美人だね。
そうだね. Yeah.
Then our final sentence ending particle is the one that was on line 2 of our conversation.
I'm sorry. I can't stop thinking about Mayumi ever since you walked by.
She's great. She's single, by the way.
Is she? Don't tell me that.
She won't be for long.
Oh no.
You gotta make a move.
So kana.
Oh, そうだよ. Tarik just said, so kana, which, yeah, he was like saying, I wonder if that is true. To which I said, そうだよ. It is true. And kana is, added to the end of a sentence when the speaker is stating their thoughts aloud for the benefit of the listener. It's kind of like saying, I wonder, or I think in English. Let's have Tarik check out our example here.
Arewa jusu kana? And that translates to, I wonder if that, as in that over there, is juice.
Yeah. So hopefully you all are noticing that we are using kore, sore, are in these examples too, to review last time the words this, that, and that over there. And let's use kore for one little exercise. Listeners, I want you to try to think of the answer to this question too, and we'll have Tarik answer as well. Tarik, how would I say, I wonder if this is tea?
これはお茶かな?
Nice. これはお茶かな? And that is how it is done. Well, let's now move on to our new words today that help us to say this, that over there, and which. Last time we saw kore, sore, are, and dore, but those words can stand all alone by themselves because they are pronouns, demonstrative pronouns. But kono, sono, ano, and dono are demonstrative adjectives. What does that mean? Well, basically, they have to be followed by a noun. They're attached to the front of a noun. So if I wanted to say this bread, I would say
このパン.
That's right. Kono pan. Kono means this, and pan is bread. So in a bigger sentence that uses a sentence-ending particle, how would I say this bread is delicious?
このパンは美味しいね.
Yeah. And just remember, we're giving you the casual version because that's fun.
Right. And an easy way to remember this is you say no to the res. So, この, sono, ano, and dono.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like, if you do say kore pan, it's going to sound ungrammatical and people might sort of tilt their heads in confusion. I think the point will get across, but they'll probably think, don't you mean kono pan wa oishii ne? And speaking of which, we mentioned this at the beginning, but let's restate the fact. Tarik, what's the difference between saying like kono and compared to our other words?
Kono means this. Sono means that. Ano means that over there, like kind of in the distance.
Yeah.
And dono means which.
That's right. So if like that like seems a little bit confusing, think, kono is going to be the stuff that's around you when you're talking. And then sono, that is going to be the things around the person you're talking to, your listener. And then ano is stuff that's far from both of you.
Yeah, so like if you're at a table and there's a coffee mug like right under you and you could point downwards, that's going to be a kono. If you're pointing to your friend's coffee who's sitting across from you, you would say sono. And then if there's something at the bar that looks delicious to you and you're an alcoholic, you would refer to that as ano.
And even if you're not an alcoholic, it would still be ano. So you're all on the same team. You got to get along.
Alcoholic. A for alcoholic.
Alcoholic. And so, yeah, like, how would we then say this drink?
As in a drink that is right here in my hand?
Yeah, like your drink, the one that's close to you, the speaker.
Kono nomimono.
Nice. So let's now use that in a sentence. What is this drink?
So you just handed me a mysterious drink for the second time.
My bad.
Kono nomimono wa nani?
I'm not Bill Cosby, so you all right. I'm much more trustworthy.
You see, kono nomimono wa button pop. You see.
Don't drink it. Don't drink it. Just put it down.
Japanese Bill Cosby.
Oh no.
Nihonjin Cosby.
Oh no.
Cosby.
I imagined it. So let's say that, you have someone across from you. How would you then say like that drink?
Sono nomimono.
Nice. So how do we say then that drink is alcohol?
その飲み物はハイボールだ。
I mean, that's a very specific alcohol, but what's just our word for alcohol?
酒。
Yeah, so その飲み物はお酒だよ。
その飲み物はお酒だよ。
Then we have ano. How do we say like that idiot?
あのバカだ。
If by adding da on the end, that's kind of like saying like it is that idiot over there.
Oh, right. It just felt right.
It just felt right.
So just ano baka.
Yep, ano baka. So used in a sentence, how could we say that idiot's my father?
あのバカは私のお父さんだよ。
Nice. I guess if we wanted to use the word that we were talking about earlier too, we could say あのバカは私の親父だよ. Yeah, that'd be like, that idiot's my old man.
Oh.
Let's now practice using dono, which means which thing, and let's use it together with kohi. So how would I say which coffee in Japanese?
どのコーヒ
Good. So if let's say we wanted to put this in a bigger sentence, that means I wonder which coffee is good. That would be
どのコーヒーが美味しいかな
nice. And then if I said どのシリアルを食べるかな? What would that mean?
Which cereal should I eat?
Yeah. Also, you could think of it as I wonder which cereal I will eat. And that brings us to our naughty words. I don't know why I said it like a German person.
Naughty word.
The naughty words.
This word is so naughty.
So that brings us to...
I went from a German accent to like a British accent. I wonder which word is naughty.
That kind of sounds like Ringo Starr. Maybe I should just use katakana accent. Like, so that brings us to the... So that brings us to the naughty words of the day. We have two. So, Tarik, have you ever gone out like and hanging out with someone and gotten drinks and noticed that like, wow, like this person when they drink, like they sure laugh a lot.
That's me when I look in the mirror.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Wait, when you look in the mirror.
Yep, that's what I do. I go to bars, get drunk, stay in the bathroom, lock the door for hours at a time, and look in the mirror and start laughing.
There I am.
There I am.
Where is Waldo? You were
himself.
You were in the mirror. Oh, yep, and he brought it up. Yep, that kind of a person in Japanese is our first naughty, but not really naughty, but kind of the more mischievous word of the day. And it is, once again, let's hear Tarik say it.
Waraijogo.
Waraijogo.
And that is a happy drunk, a giggly drunk, or in my case, a mischievous drunk.
Yeah, that person who just keeps laughing or the alcohol makes them laugh a lot. And then we also have the opposite of that. The person who gets real sentimental when they're drunk. It's just so, I just love you guys so much.
I've been there once or twice. No more.
No
more than that.
So that sort of sentimental drunk person, or like a person who cries a lot when they're drunk, is a...
Nakijogo.
That's right. Nakijogo. Nakijogo.
And I feel like this is a good time to ask this question, Sensei. What is the word for tear or tears? Like,
oh, namida.
Namida.
Yeah,
namida. Or is it just nami or namida together?
So namida is tears, and then like the verb naku means to cry.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, namida is like the stuff I guess that comes out when you naku.
Okay, so you better leave us a 5-star review or I'm about to naku all over your house.
And we didn't even give him any osake yet. Just kohi.
Whiskey ski de show.
That's such a good song.
Such a good song.
It is a good song. And
Maybe we'll do a review of that song for the podcast one day.
Speaking of reviews, I would give it 5. But that does bring us to the review of this lesson, in which we learned 10 new vocabulary words related to food and drink. We went over the words kono, sono, ano, and dono, which mean this noun, that noun over there, and which noun. We had some cool sentence ending particles. And what did we end the lesson with?
The naughty word of the day.
Warai jogo.
Warai jogo. And naki jogo?
Naki jogo. That's right.
Naki jogo.
All right. In our next lesson, what kind of stuff can our listeners expect?
Oh, well, it looks like we've got some more Japanese pronunciation. I mispronounced pronunciation. Well,
in our next lesson, we're going to learn English just for Tarik.
Me and my marble mouth. Okay. So we have Japanese pronunciation in depth, vowels, consonants, and more.
Real quick, just wanted to throw in there that lots of people feel like, oh, Japanese is such a hard language. Like, all those Asian languages are just so hard to learn. Well, guess what? Japanese is not as hard to learn as you might think. And one of the reasons is because the pronunciation of words is so simple, comparatively speaking, with other languages. You don't have to worry about tones like Chinese. You don't have to worry about vowels and consonants like being pronounced in irregular ways depending on where they present themselves in a word. Like, I mean, of course, every language has a little bit of that, but it's almost like perfect in Japanese. An ah is always an ah, and an e is basically always an e. It's never going to all of a sudden be like, O-U-G-H, life is tough, and I have to cough and go through something.
An e is always going to be an e. So you don't have to worry about taking meth by accident.
That's dark. And then we're going to look at basic relationships, how to talk about friends, family, and we're going to learn our first verbs that aren't to be, as well as something called particle o.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yep. So thank you so much for studying Japanese with us today. 今日一緒に日本語を勉強してくれてありがとうございます。
また今度。
また今度お会いしましょう。We'll see you next time. またね。
またね。
バイバイ。